Day everyone, we are the group number 2 and our topic is all about the Indian tradition. Under the Indian tradition is the Shakuntala, the major work of Kalidasa, which is the greatest of Indian dramatists and arguably the greatest in Asia. First, let us talk about Kalidasa's biography. Kalidasa's biography is an interesting one to read. His work started in the 4th century of Common Era. He was a Sanskrit poet. He is well known as the greatest poet of all times. His works are mainly on Vedas of Ramayana and Mahabharata. Next is Kalidasa's birthplace. Kalidasa might live in the Himalayas. The work Kumarasambhava by Kalidas, poet, displays his interest on Himalayas and Ujjain place, which shows that he might live in that place. Some other poets wrote in their works about Kalidasa's birthplace. Kalidasa's birth and death are not exactly traceable. Some books say he lived in Kashmir and then moved towards the south. Next is Kalidasa's birth and death. Kalidasa's birth and death are notably not recorded in any of the books, but some hypothetical years of estimation is made. Kalidasa's birth took place in the 4th century of Common Era and died between the 4th or 5th century of Common Era. Next is the growth of Kalidas as a poet Kalidas. The Kalidas biography is also an inspirational one. A court minister's son gets rejected for a marriage proposal by the princess. Then the frustrated minister sends the most eligible Kalidas shepherd to the princess. The Kalidas poet was not able to digest the insult and started learning Sanskrit. Next is the earlier work of Kalidas poet. He started with the writing on his insult, Asti Kasit Vagvisesa. Next is the major works of Kalidas as a poet Kalidas. He wrote Raghuvamsa, which described the entire family tree of Raghuvamsa, starting from Dilipa to Rama. He also wrote a poem called as Meghaduta. A major epic wrote by Kalidas poet is Kumarasambhava. Kumarasambhava contains many poems on the birth history of goddess Parvati. Next is the minor works of Kalidasa. Kalidasa wrote some Kanda Kavyas along with the major works. Kanda Kavyas are the smaller poems. He wrote a Kanda Kavya on Ritu Samhara, which describes about 6 seasons. Another notable work of Kalidas poet is Meghaduta, which is also a Kanda Kavya. The most popular plays of ancient times are the plays written by Kalidasa. Abhijna na Sakuntalam, it is one of the works of Kalidas poet which were translated into English. This work of Kalidas revolves on the meeting of Dushyanta with Sakuntala. Lastly is the Indian Shakespeare. Many people believe that Kalidasa poet is one of the 9 gems of Vikramaditya, since Kalidas' work revolved around the following things. First is expressing the love on nature. Second is praising the seasons and monsoons. Third is glorifying the field and sky. And lastly, illustrating Mother Earth. All of the above things are in his work, which demonstrate his works are majorly on nature. His works include soul-satisfying peace. Along with those, his Kalidas works have the sincerity which exemplifies the truth of his nature. His works are almost similar to the works of Shakespeare, hence is also called Indian Shakespeare.
Let's proceed to the translations of his works. Many works of Kalidasa's poetry are translated into various languages. The major script of Kalidasa Shakuntala was translated by Arthur Franklin. It is named Cloud Messenger. Sir William also translated the Shakuntala, which is a marvelous theme. Dasgupta also translated his Sanskrit writings to English. These translations are exact and are classics. Facts of Kalidasa. Kalidasa is considered as the Indian Shakespeare and the prince of Indian poets. Ritu Samhara is Kalidasa's first poetic work. Raghuvamsa and Kumarasambhava are Kalidasa's 2 epic poems. Gupta King Chandragupta II ruled during Kalidasa's reign. In Chandragupta II's court, he was one of the 9 Jawas who are also known as Navaratnas. A whole inscription and Hanamkonda inscription are two inscriptions that reference Kalidasa. For legacy of Kalidasa, with his simplistic and lucid style of writing, he brought Sanskrit poetry to a level that has rarely been surpassed in Indian history. The oldest paleographical evidence of Kalidasa is a 473 CE inscription from the Sun Temple. His name was stated in a 634 CE inscription found in present-day Karnataka. For further information on Kalidasa, Kalidasa works have been translated numerous times. Kalidasa, Shakuntala, and other writings translated by Arthur W. Ryder 1912 is the most practical. Franklin and Eleanor Edgerton's The Cloud Messenger in 1964 is a comprehensive translation of the Meghaduta with accompanying Sanskrit text. Sir William Jones' 1796 outstanding translation of the Sakuntala is a classic. In Arthur Buriedal K. two works, which is the Sanskrit drama in its origin, development, theory, and practice 1924, and a history of Sanskrit literature in 1928, whose critical commentary on the poetry and drama is still of interest. Various arguments concerning the dates of Kalidasa and other biographical points are critically examined. And that's all for Kalidasa.
In ancient India's poetic realm, a luminary did shine. Kalidasa, his name revered, his verses divine. Born in Ujjain, a city steeped in lore, his words like pearls on a poet's shore. Kalidasa's pen danced with grace. In Sanskrit verse, he found his place. Shakuntala, his masterpiece, a tale of love's allure, capturing hearts through time, enduring and pure. In forest deep, Shakuntala roamed, her beauty radiant, her spirit unknown. A chance encounter, fate's gentle hand, led her to King Dashyanta's enchanted land.
Their love, a flower blooming in the wild, but shadows loom, fate's hand beguiled. Forgetting his love, Dashyana's decree, Shakuntala's sorrow echoed through the trees. Yet Kalida's pen, like a guiding star, immortalized their love near and far, in verses woven with delicate art, their tale engraved upon the heart. So let us remember in Kalida's verse, Shakuntala's story, a treasure to immerse. For love transcends the ages in poem and song, forever bound where hearts belong.
A king in northern India is racing along in his chariot preparing to shoot a deer. Suddenly, a forest-dwelling ascetic warns him not to shoot since the deer belongs to the nearby hermitage of Kanva, a great sage. The ascetic invites King Dushyanta to visit the hermitage, which is under his royal protection. He explains that Kanva is at home, but the sage's daughter, Shakuntala, is receiving guests. When the king enters the hermitage, he noticed Shakuntala and her two friends Anasuya and Priyamvada watering the sacred trees. He hides in the shadows to observe them, instantly drawn to Shakuntala's beauty. When Dushyanta reveals his presence, a flustered Shakuntala is immediately attracted to him too. Though Shakuntala is modest and shy, the king questions Shakuntala's friend about her and offers her his signet ring. Before the king has to concoct a reason to linger near the hermitage, he is asked to protect the ascetics from the evil spirits in Kanva's absence. He quickly dispels the demons, then offers her Shakuntala, who's desperately lovesick, confiding her feelings for him to her friends. When Shakuntala recites a love poem she's composed for him, he emerges from hiding and openly declares his love for her. Their mutual declarations effectively constitute a secret marriage. Before long, Shakuntala is pregnant.
After Dushyanta is forced to return to his capital, Shakuntala is so distracted that she unintentionally offends Durvasas, a short-tempered sage, when he visits the hermitage. Durvasas puts a curse on her that will cause Dushanta to forget Shakuntala. But when Priyambada intercedes, he grants that the sight of a memento, a signet ring, will lift the curse. After Kanva returns, he celebrated Shakuntala's good fortune and sent her to join her husband, escorted by slaves. In the capital, when Dushanta receives word that a party from Kanva's heritage is on its way, he is surprised and uneasy. To Shakuntala's grief, the battled and defensive king denies having any connection with her. When she tries to show him the signet ring as a reminder, she discovers it's missing from her finger. Dushanta relents and agrees to house Shakuntala until she gives birth, but before he can do so, Shakuntala is spirited away to a celestial realm and names. A poor fisherman discovers the king's signet ring in the belly of a fish and is threatened with his execution. But he is let go with a reward after the king, seeing the ring and remembering everything. Corroborates his story. Soon thereafter, Sanumati, a nymph and friend of Shakuntala's mother, spies at the palace to find out why the spring festival has been cancelled. She learns that the king, overwhelmed by depression and remorse over Shakuntala, has forbidden the celebration. Dushanta continues to obsess over the situation until Matali, the god Indra's charioteer, appears at the palace and takes him away on the urgent mission to fight demons.
6 years pass. King Dushanta has successfully vanquished the demons and been duly honored by Indra. When Matali and the king tour the earth in a flying chariot, they descend to visit Marika's hermitage, a celestial realm of demigods. Here, the king is astonished to meet a little boy who greatly resembles him. When he picks up the boy's protective amulet, able to be touched only by the boy and his parents, he confirms that the boy, Sarvadamana, is indeed his child, the prophesied world ruler. Then, Shakuntala enters, and though it takes her a moment to recognize the king, they are soon tearfully reunited. The three of them talk with Marika the sage, and he explained Durvasa's curse, telling the couple not to blame themselves or one another. Marika confirms Sarvadamana's destiny and blesses the family, sending them home to live in Dushanta's court.